So I was going through this video and listen, it actually has a pretty decent amount of attention on it. It's sitting around 32,000 views, which honestly isn't that high for a segment like this, from the Marissa Mitchell show, where Cheyenne Bryant appeared. And what really caught me off guard is that Cheyenne Bryant straight up says she doesn't have those degrees. I didn't even notice it the first time, but when you go back and actually listen carefully to what she says in that moment, she clearly admits, I really don't have these degrees. Alright, watch this. I'm going to break down exactly what I'm talking about here, because people online were saying, we need receipts, she's probably going to show her degrees or credentials and all that speculation. And that's what I was thinking at first too, but after re-watching the interview, it becomes obvious she's basically saying she doesn't have it. Okay, just pay attention here.
And I land on this, my obedience is to God, not to people. And so as long as I'm in his will and I'm serving and I'm doing his, his word, my sheep will know my voice. Even the sheep in wolf clothing. That is not my battle.
Well,
That's
with the
his.
questions that are out there, why not provide the proof of your degree? Why not?
Well, a couple of things, right? I have multiple degrees, and my thing is that my proof isn't something that I have to prove to individuals. My proof is already within my credentials, my degrees, and also more than just my titles, it's in how effective I've been. All of my sessions have been live, for the most part. My sessions with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp, B. Simone, they have all been for the world to see, right? So no one knew who Dr. Bryant was prior to seeing all of my sessions that were live. And they deemed it, as well as I did before they did it, they can't validate me, I validated myself, they deemed it as my work being effective. I am effective at what I do. I'm educated and I'm successful in my lane, and I land on this, I created my own lane. And so a lot of times, Marissa, when people see...
First, I gotta pause right here and say something real quick. You can clearly see she's shifting into what someone confident in their position would do. Like she's focusing on her impact, why she should be addressed as a doctor, and why people should respect her in that specific way. And to me, that part is pretty obvious. She's basically telling you, I don't have these degrees, but instead she's pointing you toward her results, her influence, and her presence. She keeps repeating that same idea, like look at this, look at that, trying to redirect the conversation. So it's not about some future reveal where she suddenly pulls out credentials or degrees later on. What she's really doing here is showing she doesn't have them, and that's exactly why she leans into this angle instead. But hold up, there's still more to this. Watch this.
That maybe they couldn't, admiration turns into envy. And you got to be okay. And you got to be okay with that in that
as an
space.
attack. But I think, and I've gotten this question from many viewers, and I owe it to them.
You
in
do.
Service to
Absolutely.
them. Why not drop doctor from your name if you cannot bring forth the doctoral degree?
So I've already covered this, right? And we're here obviously to talk about my new book. So I've earned the title.
Right there. Okay, right there again. She's basically telling everyone online that she's not a doctor just because a woman questioned her, and I love how she tried to talk over Marissa in that moment, okay? But hold up, in the first round, she kind of gets away with it. But the second time, Marissa really steps in, and if you actually watch the interview, you'll know exactly the moment I'm talking about here, okay? She talks over her, Cheyenne interrupts her once, and then the second time, Marissa takes full control and goes, no, 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 why don't you remove doctor? Okay, now listen, if I were a real doctor and someone hit me with, why don't you remove doctor, I'd immediately respond that I went through years of school, earned the title, spent nearly a decade of my life, paid the price for it, and I'm still dealing with those debts and sacrifices. I worked off those debts. It took me years to get through all of that, whatever the case may be. And that's exactly what any actual qualified doctor would say in that situation. But instead, she fires back with, I earned it. Okay? Meaning what she's really saying is, I'm not a traditional doctor, but I believe my actions give me the right to use that title. I've earned the right to be called a doctor. Okay? And I'm not stealing anything here. People twist things and then act like they never said what they said. All right? And that's the irony here. Because Cheyenne Bryant is always the one talking about accountability. Cam Newton, you need to be accountable. X, Y, Z. But right here, she's not holding herself to that same standard. She's making Cam Newton and others look like they're doctors in comparison. All right, because all of these people bring guests onto their platforms and try to guide conversations and give advice. Karen does it too. All of them do. Okay, even Paul Pierce, right? Yes, people come on their shows all the time, and you can name almost any podcast host. All right? They're all doing some form of helping, guiding, or service in one way or another. It's meant for the audience, for the people watching the show. You feel me? And here she is. She's supposed to be operating in what the church would call a ministry of help. And even in her role as a so-called psychologist, it's still supposed to be about helping people, whether she's officially a doctor on paper or not. All right? Like she even said herself, and you can see it in the recorded live. She claims she was actually helping those people. So in her mind, that means she earned it. And she's not entirely wrong there. Yes, she may have helped people in different ways, but that still doesn't place her in the same category as those black women who went through years of schooling, sacrificed so much, became licensed doctors, and built their careers on that foundation. You're just trying to insert yourself with them and act like I'm one of them when you clearly are not, and that's a straight up lie. And the issue here is that this woman, who actually went to school for journalism, Marissa, and has 2 separate degrees that she studied for, paid for, and worked extremely hard to earn, okay, had to grind for every bit of it, and you're standing there looking like a fraud and a fake when it comes to claiming doctor status on paper, instead of practicing accountability, which is the #1 thing you're supposed to have when working with people and giving advice and all of that. She has to be accountable. But the real problem is she can't be accountable at the exact moment it matters most, when she's being questioned about her credentials on national television. All right?
But instead, she starts dodging and shifting around. And like I said, if you actually watch this closely, I didn't even catch this the first time either. When she says, "I've earned it," she's basically saying right there, you're right, I'm not a doctor, I don't have any degree. So all these people online are saying she might just pull out a degree later on. No, she will not. People online, even on my videos, have been saying things like, "You don't even know who she is, you're just hating," and all that noise. No, she's literally showing you right there that she is not a doctor. That's exactly why she said, "Listen, I've earned it." In other words, in her own mindset, she's basically saying, "I feel like I should be able to be called a doctor." All right? I feel like I should be called a doctor, all right? Like I said in my other videos, all right? I've been doing ministry work on the streets of Philadelphia since 2011. It's 2026. I've prayed for and helped countless people across the streets of Philadelphia, New York City, and nearby suburbs, all right? And in the surrounding suburbs as well, all right? And I can say this clearly, I don't go around calling myself a doctor or a psychologist or anything like that. Even though I've put in real work, because I don't have that degree, I would never claim that title. Now, I can tell people what I do, and they can take it or leave it based on that, but I'm not gonna lie to anyone. What she's doing is lying. Her whole persona is built on a lie. And when it is a lie, she basically says, "Look, y'all, I don't actually have any of these degrees. Black people call me a doctor the same way you might call Dr. J or Dr. Dre a doctor." That's really what it is. Just say that, okay? Just say that. And this whole situation only feeds into people who argue that women aren't held accountable because she created a false narrative and refuses to take responsibility for the truth, okay? And that's really all it comes down to.
Degrees, and I'm not going to prove
Doctoral
so,
degree.
So I've already covered this, right? And we're here obviously to talk about my new book. So I've earned the title. I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. And we're going to leave it just as.
Of course she's gonna leave it right there, exactly like that. Because at the end of the day, that's really the only move you've got, and just leave it sitting exactly as it is.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Baby, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
And that's where, and you're standing by that.
Standing by it. Yeah,
right.
Because I earned it. Absolutely.
All right, well,
Yeah.
thank you.
No,
Thank you. I know you're going to have.
That's what Marissa, listen to this, I'm telling you, she really delivered a masterclass in being classy. She absolutely did. And I always say nowadays it feels like trashy is trending and classy is slowly fading out. All right? The way people dress, how people behave, and how people speak to each other in the black community, especially the way communication happens, okay? It just doesn't feel classy. It feels trashy. All right? Both men and women, it's becoming very, very trashy, and we need to bring that classy energy back. People need to stop mocking the times when, in the black community, people actually carried themselves with class and go back to that era. All right? Here's the situation. This woman is Cheyenne Bryant. She's dressed nicely in a dress, but in my view, she comes off as rash. All right? What's coming out of her mouth is basically like, "I'm a scammer. I'm gonna be seen as a fraud standing here acting like a doctor while refusing to explain anything." And that's really what it boils down to. That's trashy. It's extremely trashy. And that's exactly why I'm making this video, and why I hope you share it. Hit the like button. all right, and spread the message. If you see someone acting like that, just say, if that's not who you are, then don't pretend to be it. If someone goes online, or let's say Cheyenne Bryant appears on a panel and someone directly tells her, you're not a doctor, you're fake, there's really nothing she can say back in that moment. And if she's on a panel with actual black women who are doctors and they say, baby, you're not a doctor, all right, show the proof, show the credentials, the dissertation, anything that backs it up, just provide something. And if she responds with, I don't want to show anything, people are going to look at her and say, you're fake. Why are you even here? All right, but this woman has been going around speaking to people in different spaces. I just saw a video, not exactly an interview, but like a clip Ray posted from about 10 months ago where he had Cheyenne Bryant with him and he said people told him he needed help, so he brought in Dr. Cheyenne Bryant and she responded like, listen, we're not doing this live. We're not doing this. We're not recording this session, this and that. We're not recording the session. Turn the phone off. She's speaking to him in a tone like she's the professional doctor in the room. And I'm like, in my opinion, I really think she was there in that space. I think Ray brought her in because, in my view, he was involved with her personally. That's my opinion. All right, some people might say that's the worst interpretation. At the end of the day, though, she's not a doctor. All right, she's not a doctor. And you know how Ray J operates. I feel like maybe he didn't actually call her in that serious sense. I mean, I've got nothing against Ray J, but in my opinion, he does some questionable things sometimes. I'm keeping it real. Ray does some reckless stuff. All right, and Ray J is very smooth with how he moves. Okay, and I think Cheyenne Bryant was aware of that energy. All right, and she knew what was going on. All right, I'm gonna leave that part alone for someone who would openly claim to be a doctor without having the credentials. When people in the black community say you're not a doctor, look, you can just accept that and move on. Instead of coming out and saying, you're right, I'm not a doctor, but I've got this title attached to my name, just say that. It's really not complicated. All right, but instead it feels like there's fear. Fear of what exactly? Fear that people will say you're not who you claim to be. You can clearly just say it's part of my name usage. All right, but the issue is that she also claims multiple degrees, and that's where the real problem is. It's not just the name, it's the academic claims. The degrees she mentions are honorary, meaning they were given, not earned through traditional study, which she has even admitted in parts, but others seem questionable or unverified, like the one she mentioned from a college she hasn't been able to actually show proof for. All right, and at the end of the day, that's where the inconsistency comes in.
Thank you for asking the hard questions.
Well,
I appreciate that.
I'm a journalist with 2 degrees at the end of the day.
I like how she confidently says she's a journalist with 2 degrees. She nods, then slowly looks away from Cheyenne Bryant, like she can't even hold eye contact anymore, almost like she's picking up on what she believes is scammer energy. She doesn't even want to look at her. And right there, Cheyenne Bryant catches that shift because we break down character moments on this channel, okay? Once again, like I always say, Cheyenne O'Brien jumps in and goes, how many? Like she's over there like, yeah, girl, trying to build that hype energy, you know, let's clap it up. Yeah, girl, we together, we in the same ballpark. No, we not.
North.
Absolutely.
All right, well,
Yeah.
thank you.
No,
thank you. I know you're going to hang around and
I
give
want
you
to
some
thank
hot
you for
topics.
asking the hard questions.
Well,
I appreciate that.
I'm a journalist with 2 degrees at the end of the
How
day,
many?
and so I had
How
2.
many? Come on, girl.
Yes, Northwestern and Emory
Come on, girl.
University. So I had
There
to
you
make
go.
sure I display that as
Yeah.
well as a journalist. So
I
thank you for
appreciate
coming
it. Of
and for
course.
hanging around. We're going to have some fun.
Let's end it right here, okay? This is very, very classy. This woman, Marissa, is really putting on a full class act. All right? It's honestly a shame what this woman, Cheyenne Bryant, has done. I don't even want to keep making videos about her anymore. I feel like she's probably going to come out within the next 3 weeks or so, maybe even sooner with some kind of statement. Right now, I think she's just staying low. All right? I saw a clip of someone showing she was at a party recently in LA, I believe. All right? So it looks like she's making appearances in that way, but I don't think she's trying to do any interviews at this moment. There's not much she can really say. She was probably advised just to let everything cool down, let Donald Trump do something else, or let some other major story take attention away so people forget about it. You can still show up here and there. I honestly don't know how she's going to come back into the black community on a high level and still claim doctor status and expect people to take that seriously. And I'm glad, honestly, that this has happened so she can be exposed as someone who is basically lying and scamming just like Umar Johnson and others. Okay? Some of you in my comments are saying don't call Umar a scammer. Yes, the man is a scammer. If you don't know that, go do your research online. Check my channel. I've got tons of videos breaking down how this man has been scamming people in the Black community for years. People keep running to him, and they've also been running to her as some kind of internet doctor and internet psychologist, and they are none of that. All they're really doing is repeating things anybody already knows. All right? Just pushing random content, leading people into things they want you to buy and asking for money online. All right? But when you actually look at what they're doing and how they're presenting things, Umar is talking about building a school that is nothing but a scam. The school, which he claims he bought in 2019 using donation money from mostly Black women, is still nowhere close to being completed or functional. And I know some of you will say, oh, it's being built, he just has to finish it. But does he even have certified teachers or proper licenses in place? No, it's all a scam. All right? Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, I'm a doctor. But did she actually go to school for it? No. Is she even trying to? I seriously doubt it. And the answer is no. Okay? No. She said, listen, I've earned it. I've earned it. I've earned the moniker, I've earned that title because you all saw me online talking to celebrities. That's literally what she said. I'm not making this up. That came straight from her own mouth. You saw me talking to celebrities. I've earned it. Okay? Earn what exactly? Earn the right to be called a doctor and speak to Black people because in her view, Black people are just so... This is her perspective, okay? This is basically what she's implying. Black folks are so uninformed that you can call yourself a doctor without being one and they'll accept it because they don't question it. That's basically what she's saying. And that's the part that really stands out about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant that people should pay attention to. This idea that she's a fake but still believes people should accept it anyway. Yeah, I'm a fraud. Yeah, I'm not legitimate, but at the end of the day, you should still accept it because you don't know better. That's what it feels like. Okay? Stop watching her. Stop listening to her, y'all. Please. Thank you guys for watching.